Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to celebrating Christy of Christy's Beautiful Life. She has been on YouTube for 10 whole years, you guys. So we are celebrating her with a YouTube hop. Now, we are just gonna do whatever makes us happy, and that makes my soul happy. You guys know I'm all about scrapbooking how you want, when you want, why you want. So, really super excited to celebrate Christy. So I'm going to do a couple of my favorite things. Stenciling, Disney trash cans. So let's see what I can do. All right, guys, so we are going to do some of the things that I just really love to do, and that is inking through a stencil. So this is probably my favorite stencil. It's the All-Star stencil from my shop, scrappingreflections.com. And I am going to go ahead and use some large blending brushes and some close to my heart inks. And I'm going to go ahead and just ink through the stencil. I'm going to completely fill in the stencil, but I'm not going to worry so much about making sure that my stencil is all the same saturation of color. I am going to bring in another orange color, and then I will also bring in 2 blue colors. And it's less about the saturation, and it was more about just getting a little bit of depth of my color. But basically, all of that is a waste of time because I end up doing something else with the stencil, and it just didn't even matter that I did this. I could have just done one color. But, I mean, maybe there's still a little bit of depth that you can tell. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. You'll have to be the judge when you see what happens with the stencil here. So this is one of those weird times where I am actually pulling colors out of my photograph. This is not something I do a lot, very rarely. It is not something that I do consciously either. But this time I was looking at my photograph. It is a Disney trash can. It is a Star Wars Disney trash can, and it's very brown. Lots of browns in this photograph, and there are pops of blue and pops of orange on the little space containers around the trash can. So I thought, you know what? This is going to be one of those weird times where I look at a photo and I pull some colors out of it. Now, am I going off and trying to like color match so that the blue is perfectly blue and the orange is the perfect orange? No. I grabbed some blue and orange. That was close enough. And then started working with that. So now I am using the second orange color. And if anybody wants to know, I'm using Sapphire and Bluebird for the blue inks. And I used Sundance and Nectarine for the orangey inks. So there it is. Now, I do love close to my heart inks. I find them really easy to use. I don't find them to be ridiculously expensive. The re-inkers work great. And yes, I have had to re-ink these ink pads. And I don't have a, oh no, I've got glitter on my ink pad, or oh no, I contaminated the ink pad because I put another color. Like, I don't have that worry about it. They aren't like some sort of magical ink pad that I, excuse me, hold in such high esteem that I can't use it, right? Like, I just like them. They're good, solid workhorse ink pads for what I like to use ink pads with, right? So they work for that. Now, as you can see, I was sitting here talking about my ink pads and how they're workhorses, and I went ahead and sprayed through the stencil. I did use a couple of Brutus Monroe Chroma Mists, and you can see I did get some bleed through under a couple of them, and that's because I just sprayed the heck out of it in some places, and what happens is there's so much liquid that it doesn't have time to absorb into the paper and it kind of just spreads, right? Like, so that's how that happened. But you be the judge. Do you think like it was worth it using the multiple colors on the stars? And then I sprayed over top of it, like, or do you think that's just an unnecessary step? So if this is something you want to try with your inks and your stencils and your sprays, go ahead, give it a try and figure out which way works for you, if you need it to add that extra color or not. So I am going to very carefully rip the edges of the paper, because, you know, paper tearing is my jam right now. And I am tearing it carefully so that very little of the stars that I stenciled is actually getting torn away. I am going to take a gray ink, and I'm spinning my spinner so I can tell you what color it is. It is charcoal from Close to My Heart. And I am using a blending brush and just blending the edge lightly. That way that torn edge is just going to have a little hint of gray on it. I like the way that this looks. It feels like a border without being in your face, over the top. Here is a border. I am just using the back of my cardstock, and I say the back just because this is not the side I'm going to be placing my stars on top of. I probably could have, because the gray is just being shown there in the center of the layout, and it probably wouldn't have even noticed, but I flip it over just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and get the stars glued down on my gray background, and I am loving this, you guys. Like, I just love the way that this looks. Sometimes I want to create backgrounds and I don't want to put things on top of them because I like them so much. And I know that that might sound a little bit ridiculous, but it's just fun, right? What I need to do is just do an art journal of basically backgrounds. Would anybody be interested in actually seeing that here on YouTube, or is that something I need to do on Instagram? I got to get the Scrapping Reflections Instagram going again. I stopped posting on it back when my laser went down and we needed to do some repairs on it. But it's time to bring it back, right? Like, bring it back. So here I am. I have gone ahead and made up some photo mats here. I'm using a gray paper, an orange paper, and I'm also using some blue fabric. Now, I've decided to put the weight of these mats towards the top of my photograph instead of the bottom. So I need something down at the bottom of the photograph to kind of give it weight, so it doesn't look like the photograph is going to like topple into the page. Does that make sense? I hope it does. It makes sense in my mind. It feels like my photograph was going to topple into the page until I went ahead and built something here at the bottom. So I've got this Doodlebug orange border strip, I guess it's called, and put it across there. And then I also pulled out some washi stickers and I tore that up, and I'm going to place the washi stickers on 2 places on the photo mats just to give it a little bit of sparkle and shine. So it's just a little bit of gold going on right there. And now I've got to figure out what the heck I'm going to do. So I pull out my LE Studio die cuts that come with the cards in my monthly kit. So I do get the LE Studio pocket card kit each month. It's cheap. It's after shipping and all that kind of good stuff. It comes out to like $13 a month, and I get some fun quality pocket cards and die cuts each month, and it makes me happy, right? Like, I'm getting a little bit of new stuff in every month, and it's not so much that if I don't use it all right away in that month, I don't feel like it's piling up. My pocket cards I'm like using them, and I don't always use them as pocket cards. Sometimes I cut them up, sometimes I die cut them, sometimes I use them as photo mats, like whatever I need to do. I don't necessarily do pocket layouts with them. So anyway, I've gone ahead and pulled off a bunch of labels, a little banner, and some decorative bits. I'm going to create a cluster up here on the upper left-hand corner with the blue and orange colors, and then I'm going to create a cluster down on the bottom right-hand corner with the blue and orange, and also a little bit of the gray. So the gray is kind of a neutral, but it's also kind of a color now. It's however you want to look at it. If you're looking at this layout and you're like, yeah, that gray is a really great neutral, great. If you're like, yes, I love that color combo of gray, blue, and orange, great. Like, I really don't have a preference with how you look at it. You could look at it any way you want. So now I've got these labels on top of each other, and this is giving me a good place to go ahead and get my title down. So there's not going to be a lot of journaling on this layout. It's a Disney trash can layout. I have 2 volumes of Disney trash can layouts. Some of them I journal on, some of them I don't journal on. It's that, like, I don't have a lot of things to say about Disney trash cans, right? Like, I just don't. I love them. I think they are flipping awesome. I just got my Food and Wine Disney trash can salt and pepper shakers. I just ordered them and received them because when we were down there for Food and Wine, they didn't have them in the parks. So I love me some Disney trash cans. Love them. But I don't feel like I need to journal about them in my scrapbooks all the time. I just don't. So I pull out these gray thickers and I spell out the word can because obviously it's a Disney trash can. And then I'm going to find some smaller letter stickers. And at first I was looking for some orange letter stickers, but I don't really have them in the size that I want. Now I could have pulled out the little Sizzix and cut out the letters that way, but this time I just wasn't feeling it. So I find these little black tile stickers and I'm going to spell out the word space so that my title is Space Can. And then I'm like, as I'm putting the title down, I'm thinking, yeah, this layout's going to be finished just the way it is. I might put Star Wars Land Trash Can up there in that upper left-hand label. But other than that, I'm like, you know what? There is not anything really on this layout. It's all paper, even though there's mixed media, it's all paper. So I decide to pull out some LA Studio stars and I pull the blue ones and the orange ones out and I go ahead and put them down on a couple places on the layout. So it's looking all very samey, all very matchy-matchy. I've got like this pop of black on the word space, but nothing, there's no other black on the layout besides right here in the title. And I'm like, you know what, if I'm going to put it in one place, I might as well put it in 2 places. So I am looking for something that was black to put on the layout. I eventually find this blue die cut and I put that on there. It gives it a little bit more weight to like the photos, and this is where I want you to look, so that works out well. But then I'm like, oh, I still have some of my Scrapping Reflections acrylic stars. I have these in black, so I'm just going to dollop a little tiny bit of glue down on here, and I'm going to add a black star to each of the orange and blue star clusters. And that is going to make me feel like my page is actually complete. So there it is, you guys. Congratulations again to Christy for celebrating 10 whole years on YouTube. 10 whole years. Way to go, Christy. Thank you so much for everything you have done and shared with our scrapbooking community. I'm so glad to call you my scrappy friend. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you guys again real soon for another video.